A US YouTuber just reacted to Canada's boycott of American products, and his confusion says a lot. Whether that surprise was real or just for the camera, I'm not sure, but either way, it's clear there are a few things he doesn't fully understand about what's happening up here in Canada. So today, I want to respond not to attack, but to clarify from a Canadian point of view. Tyler, if you're watching, I hope this helps fill in some of the blanks. Before we jump in, a quick shout out. Today's backgrounds are from my mom. She finished a night photography course in Banff a few months ago, and I've chosen one of her shots as the main backdrop. Thanks again, Mom. All right, let's get into it.
What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American here today to react and learn about 10 American products that are being boycotted by Canadians. So, as an American, I am aware that in protest to America's recent hostilities towards Canada, many Canadians have basically stopped buying American products, which is a big deal. Although, surprisingly, this really is a topic that you don't hear that much about here in the United States.
If you've ever watched the Tyler Bucket video, you already know. He talks slow, like glacial slow. So just a heads up, the clip I'm showing is running at 1.4x speed. Otherwise, this reaction would drag out for 40 minutes, and none of us have time for that. Now, about his point that you don't hear much about the Canadian boycott in the US, he's not wrong. My guess? Barely anyone down there even knows it's happening, and fewer actually care. The only ones paying attention are probably business owners who sell to Canada, and even then, only if it's starting to hit their bottom line.
I don't know if we're ashamed or embarrassed to talk about this, or if a lot of Americans just don't realize that this is happening. The US news here certainly doesn't do a good job covering any of this on the news. So today, I really want to take a look at this video so I can actually understand everything that's going on. Because I think for a lot of Americans, most Americans aren't going to realize the damage that is happening to the United States until, we feel it financially, like economically, when that starts hurting us in our wallets and stuff like that. But this is something that's happening right now, and I want to know exactly what's happening. So let's take a look.
Let us begin with the food, because that is where the boycott started. In early February of this year, the government of Quebec made a move no one saw coming. It banned all United States-made alcohol from provincial liquor stores.
What? See, that's insane to me. Not that this happened. Like, it actually makes a lot of sense to me why Canadians are doing this. I totally understand. But I'm just saying, I can't believe I didn't hear about this. This is Quebec boycotted American alcohol?
And saw coming. It banned all United States-made alcohol from
all? What? Because I heard about like one specific brand of US alcohol being banned in, I forget, British Columbia or Manitoba or something. It was banned, it was taken off shelves somewhere. And it was like kind of a small story for us. All US alcohol was banned in all of Quebec? Is this? Let me just make sure I'm...
Tyler, up until just before the G7, you couldn't find US alcohol on shelves anywhere in Canada. It was gone, pulled from stores across the country. Then, right before the summit, Danielle Smith and Scott Moe decided to quietly bring it back in Alberta and Saskatchewan. But here's the thing, even with it back on the shelves, barely anyone's buying it. The rest of Canada? We've already moved on. Canadian-made, international brands, we're not looking back.
Getting this straight.
From provincial liquor stores. The announcement sent shockwaves through the industry. Popular American whiskies and bourbons disappeared from shelves overnight. Retailers scrambled to fill the gaps with Canadian brands. And US liquor companies, especially Jack Daniel's parent, Brown-Forman, saw an instant hit to their export revenue.
Oh my God. I can't believe I didn't know about that. Wow. Yeah. And it's also another thing, maybe why more Americans don't know about this, is it's probably the American liquor companies that are going to be the most upset, first and foremost. The American alcohol companies are going to notice the most. But then, the downstream effects of Canadians just not buying American alcohol, that's going to be reflected in American businesses losing money, which is going to either raise the price of alcohol here, or those American businesses are going to have to cut costs and probably cut jobs, which is going to lead to higher unemployment in America. No matter how you cut it, like, we're going to feel the effects of this. It's just kind of sad we don't know about it.
But that was just the beginning. Across Canada, a quiet movement gained momentum. It began with sticker campaigns in supermarkets. Buy Canadian labels were slapped on domestic cheeses, meats, and produce.
Cheese? Okay. I have to fight my inner urge to joke about whenever I hear the word cheese. Very, very upscale, very sophisticated humor going on in this video. Cheese! This is something I have heard about, seen about on the internet. The made in Canada, buy Canadian, like, signs and stickers and stuff. I'm aware of this.
Then came the T tags, warning labels placed on products imported from the United States and targeted by Canadian retaliatory tariffs. Customers began avoiding them, not because they tasted worse, but because they represented something foreign, something hostile. Supermarket surveys now show that over 70% of Canadian consumers say they will reduce their purchases of US grocery products this year.
Now, the stats, the statistics, and the data, that stuff I haven't heard of either. 70% of all Canadians say they're going to reduce their spending on American-made.
This boycott isn't something that's coming. It's already happening. It's been in motion since at least February or March. And no, this isn't some government-led campaign. This is a grassroots movement, driven by regular Canadians and small businesses. People up here are done. We're done buying US products, services, subscriptions, you name it. We're checking labels now. If it says Made in USA, it goes back on the shelf. You'll see Florida oranges sitting untouched, while the ones from anywhere else are sold out. There are even entire subreddits where Canadians help each other find non-American alternatives. If you want me to do a deep dive into that and highlight more Canadian-made options, drop a comment, I'll make it happen.
Stuff. That is 70% of 40 million Canadians. That's huge! And just, I mean, it's a big deal to go out of your way in your life to not buy stuff, especially if you're Canadian and you happen to like some of this stuff. Maybe you want your Jack Daniels, at the end of a hard day. It's not like it's not enjoyable to have to cut out these things, but Canadians are just so passionate about it. At least 70% of you have said, according to the polls or whatever, that you're at least going to decrease. You're going to think twice about buying American stuff.
Yeah, it sucks giving up some of the US products we're used to. And yeah, sometimes the Canadian alternative costs a bit more. But that alone says everything. Canadians are willing to change long-time habits, even spend more, just to make a point. That's how pissed off people are up here. So if Americans are surprised by this boycott, it's probably because they have no idea how fed up Canada really is.
More than 80% cite United States tariffs as the reason. A rising number of shoppers are calling the shift permanent, and the backlash is not limited to food. American fast...
What? What did he say? Permanent? No, please. Seriously, though. Some part of me is really hoping that, given enough time, this all kind of blows over. Maybe when we have our next president or whatever it takes for Canadians to forgive and forget this whole situation ever happened. All right.
Here's the thing, Tyler. What you just said might sound like a solution for Americans, but it's not a solution for Canadians. Just forget the annexation threats. Keep buying US products and move on. All is good, right? Yeah. No, that's not how this works. Canadians don't forget. And sure, the orange idiot might get another 4 years, and then he's gone. Maybe the Democrats come back. But Trump isn't the whole problem. There are still 77 million Americans who voted for him. People who repeat his rhetoric. People who keep pushing the 51st state bullshit like it's some kind of joke. That doesn't just go away. For some of us, including me, this shift is permanent. I'll miss Hawaii. I'll miss California. I'll miss cross-border shopping. But I'm not crossing into a country where people are proud to tell me to go back to Canada.
It's probably not going to happen, but over the course of enough time and whatever, hopefully America and Canada can have a reestablished positive relationship. So when I hear stuff like this, where you're saying a lot of Canadians are just getting ready to do this forever, not buy American stuff forever. That's just a new paradigm, new mindset. That's, I've said this before in other videos. I've said the damage to the America's reputation, is just going to have untold damage to America, untold. And it's stuff like that that really makes me worried. Hearing that these types of boycotts could just be going on forever. Now normal.
Yeah, sorry, Tyler, but the US reputation, it's already in the shithole. And it's been there for a long time. Right now, we're talking about Canada, but you're not even touching on how the rest of the world sees the US. Europe, Australia, New Zealand, Asia, the Middle East, the island with the penguins on it, everyone. It's not just Canadians who've had enough. I genuinely think we're hitting a turning point. The world is tired, tired of the chaos, tired of the threats, tired of being told to fall in line. It's like that loud kid in class who bullies everyone for years, and then one day, the whole classroom just walks out. And the worst part? Most Americans don't even realize it's happening.
Food chains have become political targets. According to a poll released this week, over 1/3 of Canadians are actively boycotting United States restaurant brands.
Oh, wow.
Chains like McDonald's, Starbucks, and even KFC are reporting declining foot traffic in key urban markets.
God bless you to have I couldn't do it. I've never had the willpower, the inner strength. I would not have it to boycott. Well, I don't. To be honest, I don't really go to McDonald's anyway. But for a lot of people, like McDonald's, Starbucks, KFC, like these are places that a lot of people, including Canadians, like to go to, right? For your coffee and your food. It's annoying to cut that out of your life, but again, it just shows how passionate Canadians are about this. Cutting out McDonald's.
Meanwhile, homegrown Canadian eateries like Tim Hortons and Boston Pizza are rolling out marketing campaigns that highlight their national identity in every advertisement. One poster in downtown Montreal reads, "Proudly brewed in Canada, no tariffs attached." That brings us to Amazon. The online retailer has long been a fixture in Canadian households, but in the wake of the trade war, even this e-commerce juggernaut is starting to feel the heat.
Now, this is a tough one. Amazon, I'm not trying to be like egotistical here, like pompous, egotistical American when I say America has a lot of really good companies, a lot of great companies, including Amazon. Like, that's probably one of the most important in the world, and what it's done, being able to get basically anything delivered to your house in 2 days, like, that's insane. That's really nice. So the fact that Canadians are boycotting Amazon, even, that really shows me how upset with America you are.
Survey conducted by Leger, more than 55% of Canadian consumers say they are cutting back on Amazon purchases, and 2/3 say they are actively avoiding American-made items in general. Amazon Canada has tried to pivot.
Wow.
It is boosting visibility for Canadian sellers, promoting domestic logistics hubs, but the damage may already be done. For a growing number...
That's true. Is it kind of like a loophole that Amazon is American, but you can buy Canadian stuff on Amazon? It's kind of a gray area.
of consumers, Amazon is no longer just a convenience. It is a symbol of dependency on a partner they no longer trust. Streaming services are next. The boycott wave has extended into digital entertainment, where United States brands dominate. Netflix, Disney Plus, and even Spotify have all...
What? I have a hard time believing this, actually. Like, the food, that's a very, like, visceral, real thing that, like, hurts American companies. Boycotting Netflix, because then it's like, but can you watch Canadian movies? Is that okay? For you hardcore boycotters out there, are you really not using Spotify?
Why are you so surprised, Tyler? Is it because you're underestimating just how pissed off Canadians really are? This isn't some top-down policy. It's a grassroots movement. If something says made in the USA, whether it's a physical product or a digital service, it's already being avoided. And I get the feeling you still believe US products are the gold standard, like they're the only ones anyone would ever want. Well, I hate to break it to you, but there are alternatives. And if there aren't, we'll figure it out. That's what Canadians do.
Like to listen to music? That I did not know the Canadian boycotting went this deep. I had no idea.
All seen a decline in Canadian subscriber sentiment. Viral posts have called on citizens to cancel their subscriptions as a protest. Some have, others hesitate. But the trend is rising.
Wow.
In Quebec, nearly 36% of residents say they have cancelled or plan to cancel a US-based streaming service.
Wow.
Among the reasons, tariffs, political
Wow, Quebec again. You know, I really did not know about this.
statements, a desire to support Canadian content. For platforms like Disney Plus, which had counted on Canada as a stable secondary market, this shift is alarming. And then there is...
I would think for most of these streaming services, food services, Canada is very much, we rely on it as a secondary market, like right after the United States. A lot of these companies really do depend on the Canadian market.
Travel, perhaps the most economically disruptive of all. Bookings for United States bound...
Oh, travel. I did a video about this, actually, not that long ago. Canadians are boycotting travel to America for a variety of reasons. Not just because you don't like America, but a lot of Canadians don't even feel safe or welcome, unfortunately. So this I've heard a bit about, at least.
Bound flights have collapsed. According to Air Canada, trans-border reservations have dropped by nearly 15% since March. Canadian travelers are cancelling plans to visit Florida, California, and New York.
Wow.
Not for health concerns, not for cost, but as a deliberate form of protest. Travel boycott hashtags are trending.
I mean, this is one of the biggest boycotts of all time, right? Someone's got to do like some statistics on that. Or so this literally.
Oh, I've got some thoughts on this, Tyler. You see, stats are just numbers, and they change depending on who's presenting them. One source might say travel from Canada is down 30%, but a Republican outlet, they'll say it's only down 10% just to soften the blow. So who do you trust? Me? I trust actual Canadians. The ones canceling their trips, the ones changing their spending, the ones making this boycott real and redirecting their travel money to Canada or other nations. And I've got the receipts to prove it. Let me show you. These are real screenshots from my comment section. I asked how many viewers had planned trips to the US but decided to go elsewhere instead. Take a moment, pause if you want, to read through them. What you'll see are canceled vacations that would have cost anywhere from $10,000 to over $100,000 for a family trip. That's serious money no longer going into the US economy. And sure, the average American won't notice it right away. Not until shops start closing, restaurant staff get their hours cut, or prices start rising because the tourists are gone, and locals are left footing the bill. Maybe then your country will finally realize this boycott isn't just talk, it's impact. To my viewers, many of you have already shared stories like the ones in those screenshots. I've got at least 40 saved so far and counting, but I want to hear from more of you. Check the pinned comment on this video and let us know. Where are you traveling instead of the US? What's your trip going to cost? And how much of that money the US won't be getting? Follow my lead in the pinned comment. Let's show just how far this movement has spread and how deep the impact really is.
I don't know if I've ever heard of a bigger boycott than what Canadians are doing to America right now.
Spend here, not there. Billboards have popped up near Toronto airports. Canadian tour operators report that US vacation packages are now dead inventory. Meanwhile, demand for intra-Canada travel is surging.
And all these different things are adding up. And I'm ashamed to say a lot of Americans just don't even know, or in typical American fashion, just don't care to know. This needs to be like much more awareness about this, because America is in for a lot of pain. Like, if we're not already feeling it right now, economic pain, like boycotts and stuff, it takes some amount of time for that actually to be felt in the market and with like affect prices and stuff. But it's been a couple months now since all of this madness kind of started. So yeah, and the United States is still teetering on, are we in a recession? Are we going into a recession? And this could be the catalyst to that tips it one way or another.
Tourism groups are even offering rebates to travelers who commit to patriotic itineraries. Before we continue, hit that subscribe button to show your support to the channel. Why now? The catalyst is clear. In March of this year, President Donald Trump imposed sweeping tariffs on Canadian goods,
yes.
25% across most exports,
yes.
50% on steel and aluminum.
Right.
The Canadian response was immediate, 25% retaliatory tariffs on over $40 billion in United States products.
Yeah.
And just like that, a trade war exploded across the longest peaceful border in the world. But what Washington did not expect, what no one expected, was how Canadian citizens would respond.
President Trump. Seriously, whether you're talking about Americans in general or Donald Trump specifically, I don't think anybody anticipated this response from Canada.
No, this didn't catch us off guard. Canadians saw it coming. So did our allies, Europe, Australia, New Zealand, and beyond. The only ones who didn't? Your country. And let's be real. There are still 77 million Americans who probably still don't give a shit. The ones still taunting the 51st rhetoric and saying, "Go home, Canada." But Canada has moved on. So has the rest of the world. And now the impact is showing. Loud enough for states like Maine, Hawaii, California, Nevada, and Florida to start pleading for Canadians to come back. I'm going to skip ahead here. It's already pushing the 20-minute mark, and I don't want to waste too much of your time.
About all of this is how unified Canadians have become. In a country often divided by language, geography, and politics, this is the one issue that has crossed every line, young and old, Quebec and Alberta, conservative and liberal. They're all speaking the same language, respect. And in their eyes, the United States has lost it. So where does this leave us? For United States companies, the message is clear. Canada is no longer a passive market. It is no longer a quiet neighbor. It is a force, one that can swing public opinion, shift market demand, and impose economic consequences. Not through sanctions or tariffs, but through choice. For Canadian companies, this is a moment of opportunity. They are being asked to rise to the occasion, to meet demand, to fill gaps, to innovate faster than ever before. Because now, the eyes of a nation are watching, and they are asking, can we do this ourselves? And for the rest of the world? This is a case study, a preview of what happens when trade wars spill out of government buildings and into the aisles of everyday life, when people stop waiting for change and start becoming it. Because make no mistake, what is happening in Canada is not just a boycott, it is a reckoning. If you found this video insightful...
Oh my god, a reckoning! Jeez. this video is kind of stressing me out a little bit, but that's the point, isn't it? Yeah, here in the United States, we're even like, it's part of our culture to be like, free speech, free, the right to protest and boycott. And it's like, well, that's being used against us right now in a spectacular fashion. This was a really, really interesting video. And even though it made me kind of sad, I think it's real good for Americans to be educated on this stuff. Wow. So I'm still kind of digesting everything that I just heard. It just sounds like a lot of bad things are headed towards the United States, and even the future I'm not even that sure about anymore, because even though we're supposed to have maybe make some kind of trade deal with Canada, Mark Carney, new leadership, new beginning, maybe, I hope so. But after seeing stuff like this, I'm not so sure what the future of America really holds.
I'll give you this, Tyler. You're right that a lot of bad things are heading straight for the US. From the outside looking in, it's chaos. And the rest of us are just standing at the fence wondering what the is going on down there. Now, I do appreciate you taking the time to make that video. You helped your subscribers understand what's happening up here in Canada. And yeah, you made quite a few solid points I totally agree with. But I hope hearing this from my side, from the country leading the boycott against yours, helps you see why so many of us aren't coming down and why we've stopped spending. Most Canadians look at it and think, you did this to yourselves. To you, Tyler, and the US citizens who didn't vote for this mess, I wish you a better, more stable future. But as for me, this Canadian won't be back. I won't be visiting, and I won't be buying US goods anytime soon. If you agree with what I said, or think I took it too far, drop a comment below. And if you found this video worth your time, hit like, subscribe, and share it with other Canadians and allies who need to hear it.